this is her. Let me show you. Excuse my nails too. The Adana wig. So she is brand new. I got her because I was like, I have so many wigs to customize that I just need something quick. Do not mind me, but we're gonna figure this out together because I'm having to, and this wig is super long, so I always cut mine to a decent length that fits me. I do not like super long hair. I'm not that type of chick. I just don't like it. I need some clips. I wish I could find my clip. And I'm looking at my mirror too because I still need to be able to see what exactly I'm doing. Okay, you guys, so this is kind of what it ends up looking like. Kind of what it looks like. I don't know if you can see, but it's not the best. And if you see me looking down, I'm looking down at my little mirror here. I'm going through some things, and Lord Jesus, I'm kind of in the process of mourning a friendship, and have been for the past few months. Like it's been something. I know some people are like, why are you starting with concealer? You didn't put foundation on. This is my process. I don't care about what you think. This is my process. This is what I do. But like I said though, mourning a friendship is very hard, especially when you've been in it for longer than 10 years. And I have been kind of mourning it for a little minute. You know, I'm starting to kind of get over that, and you know, processing that and everything that happened. I have not talked to a counselor or anything about anything, so I have not talked to a counselor. I don't. Maybe I should. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't really know yet. But I've just been like, you have to be careful who you trust. You know, I trusted this person for years. You know, I thought that they were for me. I thought that they had my best interests at heart. I thought they wanted the best for me and my husband and my kids. But I was sadly mistaken. I was so wrong about this person. This person had everybody fooled. Except for my mama. Like, my mama was not fooled. She always would tell me, you know, things and try to, you know, let me know, like, listen, I don't know, you need to this, that, and the third. My daddy would give me hints here and there too about this person, especially concerning being around my spouse and stuff. But even with hearing what I you know, heard from them, I still was kind of like in this denial. I was in this denial about things, and I think I'm still like shocked that they were actually right. I think I'm still shocked that they were right. I am. I think that's more so what it is. Like, I was like defending this person and like, no, this person is not like this, you know, this, that, and the third, and they were right, you know. And for them to be concerned about certain things concerning this situation, I'm shocked that I didn't see it. That's the shock for me. I didn't see it. I was blinded. Y'all, when I tell you I was blinded by this situation. This person had me like so fooled. The outcome of, oh, that's way too dark. The outcome of the situation, it was very, very upsetting. Not expecting what I got. Like, y'all, you better be careful. Don't let them know nothing. Keep your friend out of your relationship. You and I'm telling you, take this advice, because when I tell you, sis was not ready for what she experienced, honey. and what sis tried to do. My husband gets up first to go to work because he gets up super early to go to work. So, and then like I said, at the end of the day, it's her house. You can do what you want, you know, whatever. It's your house. So we had made an agreement that she would give up her, well, I didn't want her room, but she decided that would be best, because I don't really know why at this point. Like, because my husband, you know, all them would still sleep when he would get up for work to go in. So he was the first one to leave the house every day. So I don't know why, you know, we couldn't like get the living room and, you know, just put up our we were gonna buy these blow up beds. That was me and my husband's idea to buy. She had a pretty, you know, decent sized living room, so we was gonna put up blow up beds, you know, so we wouldn't mess up her couch, and we would just sleep on the blow up beds on the floor. Because this is a temporary situation until me and my husband could find a place, you know, here in this new state. So like I said, back to the situation, we ended up moving in. We ended up sleeping in her bed. So when we slept in her bed, I wasn't comfortable already, because personally I prefer not to sleep in other people's beds. It just doesn't feel right. If they sleep in their bed every night and then I have to come behind them, you know, after they done slept in that bed for a long period of time and sleep in their bed, it's kind of weird. I just was not ever comfortable. My husband was definitely not comfortable with it. He was, you know, we were both kind of wanting to just sleep on the couch. So we just because we were living in her house, we decided to go ahead and just say, you know what, that's what she wanted. She wanted us to sleep in her room. So that's what we decided to do, even though he's the first one to get up in the morning to leave. So mind you, he would go to work every day. He's the first one up, go take a shower, get ready. When I had got there, I started living with her first. My husband kind of had to stay back in our hometown to work in Roanoke until September the 8th. September the 8th was his last day. So mind you, you know, I was already up. I had came up August 30th or 30th. I think it was August the 30th. I came up to go ahead and move in with her, because this is me backtracking or whatever to tell you, you know, I came up first. So that night I moved in. She said, y'all gonna be in my room. Even though we didn't agree with it, I was like, okay, because, you know, we needed somewhere to stay. We have our girls. We couldn't be on the street. We couldn't find a place in time before his job started. The agreement was for us to live with her temporarily, and in the process of us living with her, we would be searching for our own place. Immediately, y'all, we started searching. We didn't wait. We didn't hold off. We started searching immediately. So as we started applying for the places, the only person that I could think of at the moment that was currently in that state that I knew to put on my application was this best friend of mine's. So at the same time, I'm putting this best friend of mine's on my applications. I literally put her on every application that we filled out, except for this one right now. The place that we're living in. What a coincidence, right? So I was putting this person on my application, you know, thinking nothing of it as a reference. And me and my husband started to notice that we would get approved for the apartment, but through the emails, and I have emails showing where it says approved, and verbal, you know, conversation. The one apartment, the very first place we applied for, we had gotten approved, and she ended up calling like it was like 2 days after we got approved. She called and she was like, she started to question me, you know, my husband. Even with the approval, she was questioning us. So we didn't, at the time, y'all, I'm not thinking nothing of it. Previously had conversations with this woman, the leasing lady, kind of just making sure that we were good, everything, before we even applied. because, you know, certain things that you had to meet and all this stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure we were good before we even applied. We were good. We actually had a good, like, communication type relationship. We was, you know, would talk. You know, I would go up there and see the place. I went up there to see the place. Like, she was so nice, because I was so, like, shocked at how nice the place was. I was like, let's go, like, look at this place again. So we went to visit the place like 3 times, because we were just like, wow, like, we're about to live here with the approval that we had gotten. So mind you, again, I'm not thinking nothing of it. So when we did, so she ended up saying to me on the phone, it was just a random phone call. She ended up calling me and she was like, well, we cannot go through with the approval. And I was like, why? She was like, we cannot really discuss with you what we discussed with what was on the application. She was like, but we you know, we can't give you guys the apartment. So me and my husband didn't think none of it. I didn't tell the person we was living with, which was my friend. I didn't tell her at the time that had happened. I kind of kept that to myself. She didn't care anyway, because she never asked, which was very odd, by the way. If you know we're here looking for a place, why wouldn't you ask? How's it going? Are y'all getting anything? Why wouldn't you ask? So she never asked. So I didn't even mention. I didn't even say whether we got approved for the place or not. She knew I was applying because I told her we applied, but she never asked, you know, did we get the place or not. So I just let it go, not thinking none of it. So we go apply for the next place. Again, me not knowing, you know, what was going on behind the scenes. I put her name on the application again because I didn't think that you know, this person was doing this. Applied for another place, and we did the whole application process with the lady right there, like with the rental office lady. Like, we did the whole process. We did all of it. We did, the only thing that she didn't do in front of us was the reference. She said, from everything, when we did the application process with her, she said everything looks good. We did the whole process, got through the, weird shit was happening, y'all. Weird shit. So we got the approval. So we was like, okay, because we was sitting there with her, with our daughters, doing the application process and doing the approval and everything right there in that moment. She said, only thing I have to do is contact the references. I was like, okay. Me and my husband, we felt very, very hopeful this time, because we was like, okay, we got the place, we got the proof of the place, so let's just, you know, be excited that we about to move out this girl's house. So the lady calls me. I thought she was calling to say, okay, we're all good here, you know, you're good to go, let's get started with the process, let's, you know, let's get this thing going. Y'all, she calls to tell me we cannot offer you the apartment. Mind you, y'all, at this point, at that point I started to become concerned, because I was like, what is going on? You're getting an approval and then you're not getting the place. I still didn't think none of it. So at that time, we actually did take a break from applying. We took a break from applying. Like, I was so drained. So, you know what, let's just hold off for a minute. Still not thinking that, you know, this person could be doing this or sabotaging or whatever. So I waited a while. You know, we applied for another place after a month. It was like in the end of a month, and then we applied at one more place. So I'm like, okay, that's just, I thought at first, me personally, I just thought it was because we moved to a new state and these people just didn't know who we were. So I was like, okay, these people just don't know who we are because we're not from this state, and they can't find any type of and I knew when they was calling our old rental office place, I knew they weren't getting any answers, because I had one apartment complex call me back and ask me, did I have another number for them. At the time where we used to live, they were in between rental, like, agents. They couldn't find anybody to stay in the office over there in Roanoke. They couldn't find anybody to, like, permanently stay in the office, so nobody was answering the phones. It would be times where you can call for like a whole week and nobody would ever answer the phone. So I knew they weren't able to get in contact with anybody from where we lived at. This person only as a reference. I didn't think to put like my daddy. So we decided, you know what, we need to just not worry about this right now. Paying to stay where we stand, we're just gonna stay there until we can figure out something. Because at that point we started to feel really discouraged. Hey, we got together, we discussed us all living together. At the time, y'all, because we has gotten so many denials, I was like, you know what, maybe this is what is supposed to happen. Maybe it's what's supposed to be. Maybe we all supposed to live together. I had a conversation with her one day at where we sat down and kind of had like a grown folk conversation about the way things were going and how all that funny business that's been going on in the house, where she would come in and not talk to us sometimes, or come in and look at us crazy, roll her eyes, not talk, all this stuff. How that we needed to discuss that, because it was becoming a real problem. Like every time it was time for us to like be around each other, she wouldn't talk to us. She would, you know, walk around her house barely talking. In that process of us thinking about living together, I had discussed it with my parents. Nor one of them was like, no, you don't ever live with another woman with your husband around. You don't do that. You gotta be careful. Some people, they was giving me warnings then, but I still didn't catch on. And I was like, yeah, I say, I know, but we can't seem to get a place. I said, we keep getting approved for these places, but we're not getting the places. And I said, they're obviously going by something. At the time, we still didn't catch on, because we didn't realize like what was going on. Because at the same time, it's like we should be getting these places. You know, at this point, I'm like frustrated. So we came up with an idea for all of us to live together. Mind you, y'all, I wasn't 100% for this idea, because I'm a woman. I want my own place. I want my own kitchen. I want my own this, my own that. We was gonna get a 5 or 6 bedroom home, because we have, all together was like 9 of us or 10. And we were all going to live together. All the kids would get their own rooms. Me and my husband would get the master bedroom. She would take a secondary room. But I just did not feel comfortable with it, y'all. I don't know what it was. I know what it was now, but at the time, I could not figure out. I'm like, why don't I feel comfortable with this? I'm like, I know this person. This person is my best friend. Like, why don't I feel comfortable with this? I'm like, this should be a no-brainer. You know, I should be like, yes, let's do this. We good, we Gucci. Let's go ahead and do it. Y'all, I could not find peace with it. I could not feel comfortable, y'all, with doing it. I just did not feel comfortable at all. I don't know. It was just something I could not agree to do. So after we had discussed all living together and trying to make this unity thing work or whatever, I told my husband, I said, I just can't do it. I said, I cannot do it. I said, I don't know why, but something is really pulling me back from this idea. I don't think it's smart. And at first he was like, you know, he was for us doing our own thing, but he didn't want to have, you know, he wanted us to stay together so we could save money. And I was like, okay, that you right. Let's try to make this work, try to live together. So we looked at so many houses, y'all. We looked at so many houses. We looked at some nice houses. We looked at some really beautiful homes. Like huge homes. Huge. Okay. The plan was to split the rent in half, and we looked at some nice homes, honey. When I tell you these homes was homing, these homes were homing, okay? Homing. They were beautiful. But as we walked through the homes, y'all, I could not get comfortable with the idea. I could not. I don't care what I tried to do. I just could not get down with us all living in the same house. My man and me living first of all, my man and this other woman, even though me and her are best friends, and she, in my head, I'm like, she ain't gonna do nothing like that, you know. I'm like, I just could not get peace with it. So I told my husband, I said, we need to kind of tell her that we're not going to do it. So he tells her, because I'm cutting the story so short, y'all. It's so much more to this story. Like, but this video will be like 5 hours long if I, you know, continue, if I put every part in. So just know there's a lot of missing pieces. So my husband tells her, he says to her, because at the time she was so mad at me, and she was mad at me because, you know, I don't even know why she was mad at me. I was living in her house and she just had this attitude with me. Mind you, we cleaned up after ourselves. We never made a mess. It was just a mess, y'all. It was just, I didn't know what her issue was with me. Like, that was my thing. Like, I was so confused. So I started to allow my husband to communicate with her without me, you know, not without me, but with, like, where he would send her a message or something and he would communicate instead of me. Because it didn't matter what I said, y'all. Everything I said, she would go off about. It don't matter. If I said, how's your day, she would have went off. Like, the smallest thing, I think, with me irritated her. So, and my husband noticed it too. So I said, you know what, I think you need to communicate that we are just going to continue to try to find our own place. And, you know, so he told her. And my husband was adamant about doing it at first, because he was like, you know, we could save money, we could get ourselves together, we can live together for like 2-3 years, and then you know, go off on our own with our own family and do our own thing. So at the time I was like, okay, if we looking at it like that, then I probably could do it, because it's not a permanent thing and we can just live with her temporarily like we're kind of doing now, and then you know, go off and do our own thing. So at the time I was like, still wasn't even in agreement with it. So when I finally told him, and he went to her and told her that we can't do it, that we decided that we're gonna go ahead and do our own thing, she started crying, y'all. It was the fakest tears in the world. Like, I'm not even exaggerating about how fake her tears were. Like, her tears was so fake, and she did this in front of my husband, because my husband is a really nice person. He's a sensitive person. He's, you know, so she knew what she was doing. She had been around me all these years. She knew how my husband, how nice he was. She knew this. This is stuff that she knew. So she tried to play with his emotions, and she was like, y'all just, you know, she went into this whole fake crying thing or whatever. And so my husband came back in the room to me, and he was like, I think we should still do it. Mind you, she in the living room, I'm in the room, because me and her wasn't talking. She had an attitude with me for some reason. I don't even know why. So I said, you know, I'm in her house. My daddy had told me, look, being that you in her house, quiet. Just don't start nothing. You know, just deal with it until you get your own place. So you know. So I was like, okay. I let my husband deal with it. He told her. She was pissed. She was livid. She started crying. It bound you, these tears weren't even, she didn't even have a tear out of her eye, y'all. She didn't even have a tear out of her eye. All her tears were fake. I didn't show y'all none of the products that I used, but this is the foundation that I used. And I used Cappuccino 340. And I use e.l.f. concealer. All e.l.f. concealer, y'all. Oh yeah, and Maybelline, which I gotta buy more of because I'm already out. And Maybelline setting powder. But so like I said, he told her, you know, she said, y'all don't think about nobody but y'all self. You know, y'all, we supposed to get this house together. I done my leasing guy done went up on my lease $500. Mind you, when she said $500, I was like, I thought that was skeptical, because I was like, why would, I said, your house ain't even housing, if you know what I mean. And $500, when she said it, it threw me off, because I was like, I just knew something about that was not right. I just knew it. Something about that just did not make sense to me. And so, and even when I had told my daddy, he's like, no, there ain't nobody go up on her rent no $500. He said that don't even make sense. So I was like, and I'm sure it can happen. It can happen, but this house wasn't housing. So they would need to do a lot of stuff. Okay? To go up $500. Okay? The fuck? Like, just saying. So, okay, stop playing with her. So she was lying, you know. She was like, you know, I let y'all come live in my house, and y'all said we was gonna move together, and y'all changed y'all mind. Mind you, her lease wasn't even up for another, what, 2 months or something like that. She still had a bunch of time on her lease. All she had to do was tell them if that was true, that she wasn't moving, that she was going to keep her place or whatever. So my husband finally convinced me. At the time he convinced me, he was like, let's just go ahead and do it, let's stick to it. We told, you know, let's just go. So I was like, you know what, all right. So we looked at more homes. Y'all, I'm missing so much out of the story if y'all only knew. But we looked at more homes. So we looked at beautiful homes, y'all. I'm not going to deny these homes, okay? Like, I could be living, y'all, Ronald could never. Virginia could never with these houses I looked at. But for me, it wasn't about the house. Because if that's the case, I would be in one right now, living with her, you know, in her nonsense. I had to think about my family, my husband, and I had to make a decision based off of that, regardless of how nice the house is. But Ronald can never. I'm just saying, literally never. Okay, with these houses we seen, beautiful homes, beautiful neighborhoods, beautiful, just new builds, stuff like that. I just could not seem to get. I could not do it. I could not do it, y'all. It was just it was a no. Even looking through the home. So the second time we told her, my husband ended up having to tell her. This time he had texted her while he was at work. I had to pick him up from work. So me and my girls and all of us, we get back to her house. This is where everything gets juicy. I know everybody been waiting for that juicy part, honey, and the juice is coming, okay? Get ready to drink. So we get back to the house. I'm all in a good mood, 'cause I'm like, you know, he finally told her we're not gonna live with her, we're gonna continue to look for our own place. Yay, yay, yay. Your girl can be excited, because I wanted my own space. I wanted my own kitchen, my own, like, just living space. I did not want to live with everybody. So we get in the house. I'm happy. I'm like, you know, I said hi to everybody. Her kids were in there. She was in the kitchen cooking. Mind you, before all of this, I want to kind of go, let me just tell you this part first, and then we'll get into the shit that she tried to, like, do. Okay, let's just get, because I'm gonna tell y'all some stuff. Okay, so my husband says, how you doing? She didn't say nothing. And so then she asked her kids, he asked her kids, do y'all mama ever really talk or say anything? She was like, well, I was told if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So he was like, okay, we're gonna stop there, because we knew where it was going. Mind you, I'm still in a good mood, because I'm like, you know, I'm not finna live with nobody. Like, no. I had already got confirmation from so many people that to not do it. So, and I, mind you, the whole time, everything was about her and her kids. She didn't care nothing about me, my kids, and, well, me and my kids. Let me just say that. She didn't care nothing about me and my kids. That's where the issues became, like, you know. So everything she was saying, you know, when my husband had said, she said, how about if I ain't got nothing nice to say, I was told not to say nothing at all. So mind you, we go on, and I was like, okay, we're perfect. She ain't gonna got nothing nice. She said, but if I was to say something, your wife seems very happy now that she got what she wanted. Now, y'all, who says this to a husband? Another woman's husband. Your wife is, it look like your wife is all happy now that she got what she wanted. So my husband making sure that I'm good is, when did that become a thing? It's actually a good thing that he actually made sure that I was good, because that's what he's supposed to do. So she come with that pertaining to my husband, as far as like what he, you know, trying to, as far as him making me happy. I always get what I want. So y'all, I'm like, wow. I'm still thinking about what my daddy said. You in her house, don't say that and be quiet. And the whole time I'm just smiling and happy and cheesing, and I'm just in a good mood, you know. And she was like, she was so mad that I was happy. It was so weird that I was happy because me and my husband decided to go ahead and do our own thing. So then she proceeds to say, if you say you're going to do something with somebody, then you need to stick to it. I said, you have a place to live. I said, the only ones that's in a bind right now, because she tried to say we put her in a bind with her place. Mind you, she ain't got to move out to like end of December or something like that. And I told her, I said, the only person that put you, me and her started arguing. At this point, it became like this whole big thing in front of our kids. She started it. She started the whole conversation, the argument. She started the whole thing. She wanted a reaction. I think my silence was pissing her off. So she wanted me to say something. Clearly. My silence was literally pissing her off, because she kept referring to me. Mind you, my husband's the one talking to her and telling her that, you know, we just decided that we think it's best that we get our own place, that we not live together. She just couldn't accept that. Like, she just, that was, to her, that was a crime. Us getting our own place, that was a crime to her, or whatever. We had to go to the laundromat when we lived there. It was just crazy. We would take out baskets of clothes to go to the laundromat. Y'all, I ain't been to the laundromat in years, and I'm not even trying to be funny, but she had a whole washer and dryer. She had a washer and dryer like area, and we could not even use it. Mind you, we were paying her, and the agreement was for us to be able to use it. My husband needed his uniforms washed every Sunday because he had to go to work on Monday. We couldn't even use her stuff, her facility, like her laundry or whatever. But I didn't do like the best job on my makeup. I'm not really feeling my hair like that, but this is she. This is she. Let me get back into the story, y'all, because this is going to be like a 2-part video, the way I'm sitting up here playing. So that night, she tried to say that I brought mold into our house. First of all, for the dummies out there that actually believe that you can actually bring mold into somebody's house, you cannot bring mold into somebody's house. Mold comes from the moisture under the house. First of all, we didn't put you in no bind. Your landlord put you in the bind. Because if he went up on you over at $500 with all this stuff going up in here, like, if your lid, he the one put you in the bind. I ain't put you in no bind. My husband didn't put you in no bind. My kids didn't put you in no bind. You put yourself in a bind. Okay? We had nothing to do with what you talk about with your leasing people. And all you got to do is tell them that you're going to stay here because you still have time. So how do we put you in a bind? How do we put you in a bind? She couldn't give me an answer because she knew that we didn't put her in no bind. She knew that. She knew that. So my husband texted her. She left. Still talking. I'm like, I'm gonna let her talk because I told her. She said, because then she had said to me, oh, this person. I said, look, you would want me to be quiet. Then she got the nerve to say, I don't care if you're quiet or not. Say what you want to say, blah, blah. I'm like, girl, trust me. If I start talking, if I start going off, this house is going to be a shit show. Because I'm not the one. And if you want to do this around your kids, we can do it. I try my best, y'all. I'm like, you know what? Because I'm telling you, you got to be careful who you messing with. You never know what. I'm telling you, you never know. And I'm not the one you're going to play with. Never have been. Never will be. So when she tried my life, I was like, you would want me to be quiet right now. I'm going to let my husband talk. Because you would want me on a hush. Because I'm telling you, you don't want me. Because sis, I don't need no charges. I don't need no charges, baby. I have everything to lose. I have a great husband to lose and 2 beautiful children. So and some other things that I may not mention yet until they come forth and come to pass, which are good things. I have a lot to lose. So I'm like, boo, stop playing with her. Like, she ain't finna do, she not finna give you what you want. So he texted her when she left and was like, so do you want us to leave or do you want us to stay here? She never responded. I think the one thing she had said, see, my mistake in this whole situation was when we were going through all of it, my husband still has all the texts that him and her went back and forth. But me and her going back and forth, I erased everything. I erased her number. I erased everything concerning her. I erased her off my Instagram, whatever. I erased her off of everything, social media site. I erased her. She was done. So the next day he asked her, she never responded. It was awkward that night. When she left for work and her kids left for school, and like we, you know, left, I took them to work and everything, and I finally came back. Y'all, I packed up everything of ours. Everything of ours. I didn't leave one item. I took everything of ours and left that house. And y'all, at the time, I'm gonna be honest with you, we didn't have nowhere to go. So we ended up homeless. This is how we ended up homeless. Because she didn't want us to stay there. This is the part that I did not mention after we moved out that were going on behind the scenes. While we were living there, me, my husband, and my girls were sick every day. Every day. There was not, mind you, her and her kids were never sick. I think one of her kids got sick once, and I think he had a common cold, but I don't even know what he had, but he got better the next day. I don't even know what it was, but he felt decent, like he was up to doing a lot of things the next day. I don't even know if he had a cold. I don't even know what that was. I think it wasn't even a cold. It was just, I don't even know. But I'm thinking it was a cold though. But it didn't like last long. But me, my husband, and my two girls stayed sick every day. We always was at the emergency room. We always was sick. I have family members can tell you. Because I called my mom, my dad, my husband called his people. And every time we told them we were sick again, we had to go to the hospital. They were like, what is going on there? They kept saying, what is going on? Why are y'all staying so sick? It makes no sense. Y'all have never been this sick before. Y'all, I cannot believe what this girl, what we know now, what this girl was doing. Remember I mentioned the apartments and how we was getting denied? This girl was calling, when they would call her for references, she was leaving bad references for us. That's why we would get approved and didn't get the place. Not only that, this person tried to tell me, you're supposed to be my best friend. You're not my friend. You don't care about my kids. You don't care about mine either, for what I learned you was doing to her. Specifically, my oldest one. Y'all, I don't know what she was doing. One night, my oldest child, she's vibrant. Look, I'm going to tell you something. If Mala ain't jumping around, playing, being Mala, something wrong. So, one night, randomly, Mala got sick. I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, okay, you know what? She's sick. Let me get her to the hospital, see what's going on. Get her to the hospital. The first time she got sick, they ran every test. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. They just said it was a common cold. So I was like, okay, because they didn't know. They even told me. We still have records showing where they really aren't sure what she had. So we just assumed it was a cold. Left, I gave her medicine. Thought she was getting better. Got better for a day or two. Sick again. Back to the emergency room. I was like, okay, my child keep getting sick. What's going on? Sick again, y'all. Mind you, we racking up bills because we trying to figure out what's going on with our daughter. Next night, our youngest one gets sick. Y'all, at this point, I was so stressed as a mother because I did not know why me, my girls, and my husband was so sick every day. I did not understand why we were so sick. So then, another day, It was in the daytime. Sick again. Go to the hospital. At this point, y'all, they didn't even know what was going on. Shit, we didn't even know what was going on. I think in all, my oldest child got sick probably 7 or 8 times. That's a lot of sickness for a freaking 3-year-old at the time. Y'all. A lot of sickness for a 3-year-old. And she has never had health issues. I think at the time, Myra was way under 1. She got sick probably 6 or 7 times as well. Back to back, y'all. Back to back. Then my husband started to get sick. This is when I started to kind of catch on to things. Because in the midst of this, mind you, she would cook every night. She acted weird about us eating, but she wanted us to eat at the same time. It was like a weird thing, y'all. It was so weird. I stopped eating there. I would go out, get something to eat. Already be full by the time I got back there. So when I got there, I was not hungry. My girls are really picky with eating. So they would eat, things here and there, but not a lot of food. But my oldest did kind of eat a lot of her food. But she did also, mind you, we had all of our drinks, leftover foods and stuff of ours in her refrigerator. So we had a lot of our stuff in her refrigerator. So this last time that my oldest child got sick, y'all, was very freaking concerning for me. So this is how it started. One night, again at night, which was very concerning, she got sick. Y'all, she got sick. I was like, okay, here we go again, yo. Here we go again, yo. I decided not to go to the hospital this night because I was like, let me just wait it out. Because mind you, I had took both of them to the hospital probably like 6 times. 6 times each. So I was like, let me just wait this one out and see what happened. She didn't get much sleep that night. She tried to sleep. My daughter is strong. Strong. Like her mother. So, mind you, y'all, she's not feeling well at all. So I'm up the whole night. My husband's up with me. We're trying to get her together. Mind you, this so-called friend of mine is asleep. She knew what was going on, but she did not get up. She did not get up to make sure that we was good. She didn't get up. It was like I think I went in there to get her something to drink that night, my oldest, and she was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Mala don't feel good. She's sick. She mind you, she slept in the living room, so she can try to control everything." So she slept in her living room where we wanted to sleep because, mind you, I had a young child that was under 1 that I needed to make bottles for nightly and all the time. So I needed to be closer to the kitchen so I can get to the bottle. So I wouldn't wake nobody up. So when I went in there and made a cup for Mala, she was like, "What's going on?" I said, "Mala don't feel good at all." I said, she just don't feel good. I said, she's not herself. She's not nothing. She looks really bad, and I feel like I'm gonna wait it out, but I probably need to get her to the hospital. And she was just like, oh. 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 Y'all. This is supposed to be my best friend of what, over 10 some years? And my child is in there about to leave the earth, and you're gonna say oh and then go back to sleep? Okay, all right. Okay, y'all, this, and I'm telling you, this is the stuff that happened before we ended up moving out. This is everything that happened before we ended up moving out and realizing what she was doing. That morning she worked from home. So she was at the house with me and my girls. And so Mila was just going downhill, y'all. She was just going like this. She was going like this. By the minute, y'all. By the freaking minute, y'all. I'm going to post the pictures. And if anybody that I know been around Mila, you know Mila is a vibrant child. She's a bee, honey. She's a joyful child. When I show y'all these pictures and what my child went through, y'all, I take her to the hospital once my husband got off because I had to go pick him up. I couldn't go to the hospital and then, because I knew we would be at the hospital for a long period of time. So I had to go pick him up first, and then we went to the hospital. Once he came back to the house, we ended up coming back to the house because we had to get something from the house and all that stuff like that. So when we came back to the house, he actually, that's when he finally kind of like seen her, because in the back seat he didn't see her. For some reason he seen her, but he wasn't thinking that she was that bad. So once I finally like had to get our stuff together to go to the hospital, we got back to the house. He looked at her and he was like, yeah, we need to get her to the hospital. She looked like she wasn't doing nothing, y'all. She was just like, the life was coming out of her, y'all. The life was coming out of my child. So we rushed her to the hospital. I wasn't gonna call 911 because I was, at this point, I was at a panic, y'all. I was at a panic, y'all. We get her to the hospital. Mind you, here in Charlotte, they have a children's hospital and they have a hospital for the adults. So we took her to the adult hospital because the children's hospital, we've been there before, and usually it's super packed out day and night because, you know, a lot of kids, you know, get sick and stuff like that. We get there, they run tests at the emergency room. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. They was like, well, we ran this test, we ran that test, we just don't see what is wrong, but we do know her breathing is really becoming non-existent. I started to panic. So I'm like, what? I'm like, her breathing? I'm like, what are you talking about? They ruled out asthma. They ruled out every virus that was out. Every virus, y'all. I'm getting angry, y'all, at the moment because this is my child. You don't play with my child. So they ruled out, trying to compose myself. They ruled out everything that y'all, they ended up admitting my child, put tubes all up in her body, on her body. She was connected to pretty much everything. They transferred her from one hospital to the other. So I had to ride with her in the ambulance to be transferred to the children's hospital. She was in that hospital for 3 days. 3 days. It took them 3 days to get her breathing together. They ran every test you can run. They could not find anything that they thought it could be. Y'all, mind you, as I calmed down, I started thinking, as I'm sitting in there with her and they trying to work on her breathing and get her breathing together. Mind you, my baby was so cooperative. She tried. She was trying, y'all. She just didn't have the energy. She didn't have the upbeat. She didn't have it all. Nothing. She was out of it. I started thinking. I was like, I remember these empty medicine bottles on her counter. And I said something to her about it. I said to this person, I was like, why do you have all these empty? At the time, I wasn't even thinking like this is before we moved out and all that. I was like, girl, I said, why is all these empty medicine bottles up here? I said, goodness gracious, you got a lot of medicine up here. Mind you, a few of those bottles were half empty. I want y'all to put 2 and 2 together. Half of the medicine bottles were empty. It was like about 3 of them that were empty. It was a bunch of them on there, but the 3 that I remember picking up were empty. Mind you, we had our juices in her refrigerator. We had our drinks in her refrigerator. We all had separate drinks. I drank something, like my husband had his own type of soda. Both of my daughters were drinking 2 separate drinks, and we all had different drinks in her refrigerator. So when we were at the hospital, the doctor, they had ran, it was like the second day, they ran so many tests, y'all, they didn't know what was wrong. So the doctor comes into the room with the other doctors, and they was like, we just have a question. I was like, okay. They said, who are you living with? We know you're new here in the States, so who are you living with? Because they were trying to figure out what was wrong with my child. So I was like, we living with family. I said, my best friend, you know, slash sister slash, at the time I was like, you know, slash sister slash, you know, this before everything went down as far as the argument and everything, slash, you know, cousin. I said, yeah, we living with her. She was like, or them, should I say her, because, you know, she's the adult. But so they were like, where do you keep your stuff? I was like, well, we keep our clothes in her room with us. I said, but our drinks and food and stuff is in her refrigerator. This doctor was like, you need to be careful with that, because sometimes when you have a bunch of people in the house, like kids, or you know, sometimes even adults, you know, something, they might accidentally put something in a drink or in a, you know, or something that might you know, they might think it's for their kid because their kid needs this type of thing or something like that. I was like, at that moment, y'all, I was like, okay. I still didn't even quite catch on then, y'all. I was like, I didn't even catch on that. I was like, yeah, okay. I said, but you know, remember the 3 empty medicine bottles sitting on the counter? I was like, you know, none of them were sick, by the way. None of them. So I was like, okay. Make sure that our stuff is like separate and put over to the side and stuff like that, and just like she has stuff on one side, we got our stuff on another side. I said, you know, I think we're all good, you know. She was like, okay, because we cannot figure out what is wrong. We have run every test and we can't figure out what's wrong. So I was like, I don't know. At the time, y'all, I was so confused. I was like, I don't know, because I just would never think nothing like that. Never. So I was like, you know, I don't know. I said, but she had to be admitted, y'all. My child was admitted. They wanted to keep her for a week. Her, y'all, they had to try everything. She had to do the highest breathing treatment that there is. And that took almost a week. So basically it was 3 days we were in that hospital. In that hospital for 3 days. Y'all. So once that fight happened that we had, when we all got into it, all of us adults kind of got into it, that's when I learned some things after the argument, after we moved out. I learned that she, the whole time that we was, probably the whole time me and her being friends, she been coming down to discuss me with people that I don't even talk to on a regular basis. She wanted to discuss all this beautifulness and all this queenish right here with people I don't even talk to on a regular, mind you, the people she was talking to, I don't even talk to on a regular basis. And she know that I don't feel like they really care about me. So you're going to go talk to people about me and my husband, and you're supposed to be my best friend, and you know they don't really care for me that much, and you're going to go talk about me to them? And I learned this because this dummy talked about us. She literally talked about us to my dad's sisters, my cousins. She sat in a room, brought up me and my husband, tried to condemn us, y'all, tried to bring us down so low that it made her look like she was something that she is clearly not. Okay, tell me that she is clearly not, by the way. I want to be clear on that. I want to be very clear, because sis, no, on no level with no devil. Okay, stop playing with her. Like I said, so she tried to condemn us to these people that we don't even talk to. She had these people thinking, she was telling these people that she was going to pull my husband to the side and talk to him. She made it seem as if they actually came to us thinking that my husband and her slept together, and my husband ain't even that type of person. Whole time, y'all, come to find out, she was trying to, my husband got sick too really bad one night because I stopped eating there. He continued to eat there. I was like, no, I'm not eating no more. So I wouldn't eat. He got real sick. But come to find out though, she wanted my husband. She wanted me and my kids out the way so she could be with my husband. And this is somebody that I have been cool with for years. Y'all, I definitely got trust issues when it comes to female, because at that point, when you do something that she did on that level, there is no coming back for me. But you know what, honey, I will say this, and I'm gonna say it clear, just in case, you know, who's ever watching. Everything that was spoken about me and my husband, I rebuke it. I rebuke it. It has no effect here. And I put it back on the person that spoke it to you. And I even put it back on whoever else sat around and engaged in it. Because you don't get to sit there and condemn us when we, first of all, don't even fool with half of these folk. Not only do we not fool with half of these folk, why are you talking about me? And you're supposed to be my best friend. Why are you condemning me to people that you know don't care for me? I'm not a type of person that goes and tells everybody my business. When I'm going through something, I go through it. When I go through something, I go through it. If I could sit here, and I got more story times for y'all, because the stuff that I have been through, please, I'm tough. So I say this to say that be careful who you call a friend. Even if it's a family member that you call a best friend, even if it's a sister you call a best friend, be careful. Because I'm telling you now, you might be telling a story next. Tread lightly. Trust and believe me. Tread lightly. And that's what I'm learning through this whole process. Everything that I've been through with this person. Everything that this person tried to do to my girls. Tried to do to me. Tried to do with my husband. Tread lightly. I will no longer be so open. I was good to this person. Y'all. Let me just brush my hair for a minute. Because on that situation, y'all, when I tell you sis was so good. Sis was so good to this person. Y'all, this person almost had a death scare where the doctor told me if I had let this person stay home through the night, she would have died in her sleep. I forced this person. I left my husband to get this person to the hospital so this person could be here today. She had to have an immediate surgery. The doctor came to me later on and told me, good thing you brought her here, because if she should be grateful for you, because if you hadn't brought her here and she went to sleep, she would have died in her sleep. But because I cared, and this is what I get. You want my husband. You try to take my kids out. You want to take me out. You want to start stuff with me. You want to be jealous of me. And you know what I've been through. So it's weird that this person knows what I've been through and consistently did what she did. Without even concern, without even a care in the world about what I would feel or think about it. Who does it to somebody that they love? It's supposed to be their best friend. And then got a nerve to twist it. She tried to turn my husband against me too. It was so crazy, y'all. I tell you, man. Y'all, be careful who you trust. I'm telling you, be careful. This person was supposed to be my sister, my cousin. She was my cousin. But my sister from another mister, she was supposed to be my best friend, y'all. And I'm talking about years of this jank, yo. Not just like 5 years. I was so good to this person, y'all. I can recall so much, and I'm not even going there. It's done. I just want to get this story out there because I want to warn people about people that they considering friends. You better be watchful. Because I wasn't. I was blind. I thought this person had my best interest at heart. I thought this person wanted the best for me and my family. No. This person wanted what was best for her and her kids. She didn't give a damn about me and mine. You better be careful who you trust. That's what I will tell you. If you're not careful who you trust, honey, you're going to end up with the end up. Okay? Be careful who you trust. Because, sis, I mean, I got bamboozled. I got bamboozled. Y'all, like I said, y'all, I come to tell y'all this story to get it off my chest. I feel like somebody needs to hear this story. Trust, Lord, forgive me, because, you know, I was angry. I was pissed off. I was pissed off about this situation because I never expected somebody that I cared about so much and loved so much to do this to me. I never. So for this is big for me. This is huge. This is the only friend that I actually had besides my husband. For this person to do me that way, it's gonna take me a while, honey. I will talk to another female, but us, I'm not, we ain't gonna be on that level. I don't know. It's gonna take some time for me. Because after what I experienced, y'all, it's gonna, yeah. I just, right now, I'm not there. Because this is also, it's only been 7 months since this happened. It ain't even been a year yet. Like I said, when people show you who they are, believe them. I've seen signs. I let the signs go. People told me stuff. I let it go. I didn't want to believe it. I've been warned for years. I never wanted to believe it. Until it hit me in the face. And I almost lost my child. Be careful who you trust. And I'll talk to y'all later because this is an emotional situation for me. So, this is a hurt on another level. When you try to remove somebody completely to get what you want. So, y'all, I also forgot to mention in that video or whatever is that this person would never support me in anything I wanted to do, whether it was YouTube. No, YouTube is free. All you gotta do is subscribe. But this person would not support me. She also would not subscribe. She wouldn't watch the videos. She just hated me, and that's what I found out. So I did want to mention that too. But y'all, I don't know. Like I said, you just gotta be real careful who you saying is your friend. But I did want to show y'all something that I did. I bought a towel holder and I put all my bracelets on it.